Okay, everyone, welcome to the stream. Tonight we are covering, and I say we, I have another player here with me tonight, Release the Kraken. She's agreed to co-commentate with me. I'm excited about that. Welcome.
Yep, thanks for having me, Foam Off.
Definitely. So we're covering Group L in the May Mashup Tournament. And for anyone who tunes in and watches who's not part of the Discord community and not intimately familiar with the details of the tournament, basically we're going to have a round, one round tonight for 3 different people, and they're going to play 2 different games, both of them bid games with predetermined combos. There is a story that goes along with the combinations, but basically tonight we're going to focus on the gameplay. And we've got 2 bid games ahead. One of them is between, correct me if I get this wrong, can I call you Kraken for short?
Yep.
Albion Patriotic, Nordic Mechanical, Lonnie Engineering is the first game. Second game is Crimea Engineering, Rusviet Agricultural, Tagawa Innovative. In the first game, they're trying to control the factory, or at least have a factory card. This is the challenge exterior to the game. And in the second game, the challenge is to have the most combat cards. So that's what they're doing. That's what their goal is. And behind here, we have the bidding app, which in just a minute, they're going to get started with and start using. So you haven't had your game yet, but
I have not, but I've played some practice matches.
Played some practice matches. What are your thoughts so far about the game 1 matchup?
I mean, I think it's very interesting, just with what happens with Polania. I think if it gets, a good encounter and gets off to the factory, and if it gets a good factory card, particularly that one with spend a pop to get a mech deploy. Obviously, when you have something like engineering, anytime you can get a mech deploy factory card, that's going to really come in handy. So I think that, if Polania can get off to a good start and really terrorize the other players, that could be something to look out for.
Yeah, my camera froze for some reason. If we can fix that.
Yeah, that's true. You don't really want to be spending coins with something as low coin as engineering. Oh, in the... Huh. Okay. Foam Off is looking into it, so they can hear me but not you. All right, he's looking into it and trying to get a fix. Well, we got some time. I think we're still waiting on.
Okay, it's working now.
one
I
other
just had to
player.
switch the scene back and forth a few times. It's not the mute button, guys. It's something that glitches out occasionally. And I was just using OBS a minute ago. So it's okay. Kraken had all the good analysis so far. I was just saying something about Polania can be good sometimes. That's about all you missed from me.
Polania, high ceiling, pretty
yes,
much.
Basically. But I mean, obviously Albion Patriotic is good if the game goes long. It's hard to rush too fast with that combination, but with all the coin they can stall. And I think I kind of noticed a trend with the practice games that Nordic Mechanical has been the zero bid for the beginning part of the week, but I've seen some really good games people have had with Nordic, and Nordic kind of trending up a little bit, and maybe Polania and maybe Albion trending a little bit down. In what people
I've noticed that as well. I think Albion, just within the confines of the game, it can be kind of a risk to take Albion because if the game ends quickly, you're risking not getting to the factory at all and then not getting any points out of the round. So that is definitely a risk.
Yeah. Let's check the Discord real quick. Yeah, it looks like they're just waiting for LYB to join the bidding room. So I've been kind of messing around with these combinations, and I feel like one of the scary things with either Nordic or Albion is that your target to end, it can go faster. Albion can go faster if you get amazing encounters and you get attacked, so you don't, or you can easily move to combats because they're sitting on the tunnel or whatever. But it feels like Albion target to end is like 17 to 19 turns, and Nordic is somewhere in that maybe 16 but 17 to 18 range as well. But Polania just doesn't care. Polania can do 13, 14, 15 rounds and win the game, but I feel like if the game goes past 16 and Polania is not in tier 2 or tier 3, they're done.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think the longer the game goes on, the stronger the other two combinations get, and therefore the worse it is for Polania. So it really behooves them to end as quickly as possible.
Let's see. LYB may be having... We got 3 players here. We haven't actually mentioned them yet. We've got Flying Mustang, LYB, and AdityaKarthik. LYB is having trouble getting into the bid room, it looks like, is what we're waiting on. Actually shows them in the bidding room. They're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
He's just getting a blank white screen. Okay.
Yeah, because they are showing us in the bid room.
Yeah.
Oh, they're on mobile. I wonder if that's contributing to the issues at all.
Yeah, I've been able to use the bidding app on mobile before. Let's see here.
I mean, if nothing else, they could always do this by hand.
Yes. Yes, let's here.
Yeah, it looks like that might be the route that they're taking. LYB said that they had to resort to doing it manually on the Discord the previous round.
Here's my Discord, y'all. So you can see the chat here. It's horribly small. Let's see if I can something. Sorry for everybody for the stream inception stuff we got going. Dragon stuff on the screen. But I want you guys to actually have a chance to see the bidding. So
oh wow,
so
LYB is starting off at Nordic Mechanical.
Yeah. He I mean, I don't think we're going to see it circle back to him for a while. I mean, I think we're going to see Polani Engineering go above 5. Dur says he's got no idea how to bid this set, to be honest. I think this is probably the third game that's been kind of intriguing from a bidding standpoint. Polani has been going for about 8, but I've seen games where they got smacked and didn't come close to it, and I've seen games where they won by 30.
Yeah, I mean, Polani can be very swingy with encounters, and then also the factory card.
Okay, Nordic's at 1, so AdityaKarthik moves Nordic up to 1. Do you have the Group L chat up?
I think, did they skip? Oh, okay.
AdityaKarthik's on Nordic for 1 right now. And Flying Mustang just came in on 0 on Polania. I'm sure he'd love to get that for 0.
Yeah, that would be quite the bargain.
But you'd think for sure that someone comes in. Nordic for 2. LYB doesn't want to let it go. Maybe we'll see some heretofore unseen Nordic mechanical strat. Hi, Tini Robert. This is what you're looking at is actually the bidding. One of the players was unable to open the bidding app, so they are manually bidding in Discord. So it's not quite, it's not as eye-catching. And for that, I apologize, but that's what's happening. So right now, we've got Polania at 2, Nordic at 2. LYB takes, who started off on Nordic and took Nordic to 2, takes Polania to 3. That's not right. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it was
It wasn't his turn to bid.
It wasn't his turn to bid. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
So.
Yep, it does not go around in a circle. Someone has to take your combo from you.
All right. So AdityaKarthik's turn. We've got Nordic at 2, and Flying Mustang's got Polania at 2. AdityaKarthik's going to take Nordic up to 3. It's interesting, but if you pull up the tier list, I think the most recent version of the tier list has Nordic Mechanical rated ahead of Polani Engineering. And Polani Engineering is as low as it is because there's so much variability that there's not... It either rushes lightning fast and it's fire, or it's smoke. It's just one or the other. Nordic Mechanical is a little more consistent.
Definitely very hard to bid because a lake block is in play from Polania. And of course it can... Albion takes so long to become defensible. Because it can either, rush to get a mech or rush to get an enlist, but it can't really do both by the time, if Polani gets a good encounter, by the time Polani is ready to come out.
You can actually get a mech and an enlist by turn 7.
Yeah, so I guess you just have to hope Polani is not at the factory by
turn 6.
By turn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, I'm bragging because the turn 7 thing I actually like figured out the other day. So I may pull that out in this tournament. We'll see. Depending on how the bidding goes. Wrathclaw says Albion's not getting the love. Well, no, Albion can't get any love or the bidding would be over. Right? Let's see. Okay, we've got Polania for 4. Polania for 5. All right. Polania up to 6 now. What's Nordic at? It's off y'all's screen, but I think Nordic's still stuck on 2.
Yes. No. Oh, now it's 4, I guess.
Yeah. At what point do you jump over to Albion here? I think I want Polania to be at 8 to 10. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I like Albion at 0 with Nordic at 4, but you might... I mean, it might be worth grabbing Polania, especially if Nordic's all the way at 5.
So we got them both at 6 now. Polania and Nordic. Polania at 7. Polania at 8. Polania at 8 and Nordic at 6. AdityaKarthik's turn here. No one wants Albion in this game. You're right, Wrathfall.
Yeah,
I mean, you said it when you were...
And how much love is getting shown to Nordic.
Yeah, it's different than most of the week. Most of the week in the practice games, like we said, Nordic's been the 0 bid or 1 or 2 coins. Nordic even with Polania now at 8. I didn't expect that. But these players are showing they really don't want to get stuck on Albion. But someone's going to... someone has to eventually. It's getting there, I think. I mean, you're already at the point where... I mean, think about it. You're juicing Albion by 8. So
That's
Albion
true.
in turn... What? 13 or 14. Oh, there it is. Flying Mustang takes Albion for 0. So let's get bids on screen. We've got Albion Patriotic. 0. We have Polania Engineering at 9. And we've got Nordic Mechanical at 8.
Yeah, Polania is going to have to harass Albion a bit here. It is nice to have only a 1 coin cost over Nordic for Polania, but I think if they don't harass Albion, it might be easy for Albion to stall.
Yeah, it's like you said, Albion does not have to get as far into their engine as they normally would to stall this game. I mean, what does Albion sit on? Like 40 coins or something? Not 40 raw coins, like 40 points in turn 13. Increase that to almost 50. And you're almost getting Polania Engineering in tier 1 is going to struggle to end the game almost even with full spread if they don't end by 13 to 14. If it goes to 15, the Albion gets a couple stars and a couple moves. I feel like 50 is the point. If Albion hits 50, Polani is in trouble. I think is about the line in the sand
that
point.
sounds about right.
All right, here's the fun part where we just get to sit here and wait for them to join a game. So which bid do you like the best here?
I mean, I do honestly kind of. I'm not sure how much I like Nordic being pretty much on the same level as Polania. It's 1 coin lower. I mean, I do think Polania at 9 is decent over with just 1 coin above Nordic, but I kind of like Albion here with the other two so far above it. I think if it can stall the game long enough, it's got a pretty Mustang's got a pretty decent chance.
Yeah, I think that first encounter is going to tell us a lot about it, Polania, and also that factory card. I don't think there's any way Polania Engineering can economically keep up with Albion Patriotic. I mean, I don't think there's a route to victory where they run an engine. I think you've kind of got to get a couple mechs, get your encounter, maybe get a few more encounters, but get a factory card, encounter hop, and run your engine off of the board, essentially.
Yep.
Maybe at one point you produce a bunch of food and then move around and grab encounters and maybe find some upgrades, find some mechs, find some metal, find some something. But I don't think you can turtle in your base and make stuff and compete with Albion Patriotic. Patriotic board's just too good.
Well, Polania always kind of wants to be encounter hopping. But yeah, I think once Albion really gets going, it's going to be hard to stop. And Albion Patriotic is also very high power, so if you let it take control of the factory and put a flag down there, it can just teleport right back. So that's not good for Polania either if they want to control the factory at the end of the game.
So we're into the game right now, and Albion started with a trade for 2 oil, which is a pretty standard opening for Albion Patriotic. They didn't move to the village, leaving it open for Nordic, but most of the time Nordic is not going to take that village because it's not in their best interest unless they've got industrial or innovative, really. So
yeah, Nordic cannot hold on to that village, and really the only benefactor to Nordic doing that is Polania.
Exactly.
Because those workers will get sent home.
And then Albion, even if they were planning on moving, which they might not have been, they get in a situation where suddenly they can't. Oh my gosh, but they do it.
Oh. I think Polania is looking. Let's see, is licking her chops over here. So
I guess the benefit of this is the turn 3 encounter, but it's actually, I think, slower to the factory if you get metal on the. Wait, did they go move first and then trade? They did.
Yeah, so then you have to spend a turn trading for your metal. So if you get that metal on the encounter, you're right, you have to do something else on your down turn.
Yeah. So if you trade and move, trading at a mech and move, that's a turn. They're getting turn 3 factory, but I haven't mathed it out, but I feel like this is slower to the factory than what we normally see, even with a good encounter. Unless, I guess, they get a mech off of the encounter, and that could change things. This is round 3. They get here. If they get a mech off this, they're cruising. But they don't. The 3 oil is nice for sure because you have that engineering board that has upgrade under produce. And I think you have to take the wood too. I think you got to go 2 and 3 in your next 2 turns. Next 3 turns are produce upgrade.
Build the mine.
Build the mine. And trade for a mech. The nice thing about the upgrade, here's another thought, is you can upgrade deploy once, which makes the 2 metal you've traded for enough metal to span 2 mechs. But I still think you want the mine because you have to do both of those deploys after the produce. I guess you could sandwich another produce into them, right? So you could go produce upgrade, trade deploy, produce to 8 workers, trade deploy, move to factory. And that's like, what, turn 8? Something like that? I almost expected Nordic just to move those workers to the oil tunnel, just like the village invasion was just kind of a neener. Because I don't really know.
Yeah, those workers are about to get kicked.
I don't know how Nordic benefited from this. And Albion now can't take some of the best encounter options in the
Exactly.
game.
Albion has lost their ability to take the popularity, anything to spending popularity, so...
And Albion didn't actually have to rush there. If there was something they wanted to do instead, they could have done it. Because Nordic was nowhere close to making Mac. Presumably this worker's coming in after Connor here to get to the village. But it's thematically nice, right? We got Connor and Bjorn duking it out on the way to the factory early in this game. Get combat card and a popularity. It's nice, I guess. Nothing really great off of this though. I mean, the resources were wood. One thing might have thought about there is taking that wood and then trading for food to set up an enlist. And grabbing a building like a mill on that mountain would have been kind of nice, I think.
Yeah, no, that's definitely one option. It is good, I guess, though, to have that combat card at least. Although Polania is going to be a little bit slow to harass Albion in this game.
Well, there's the mine. Next turn, that mech can be up in Albion's face if it wants to be.
And if Polania really wants to, they can steal Albion's encounter. But I think the village that's 2 spaces away from the factory is probably their better bet to keep themselves in range of heading to the factory.
So Polania moves in turn 6, and they move again in turn 8. The fastest way that Albion gets to a mech would be a produce, a trade for metal, and then a deploy here. So I think Albion can get a mech.
Yep, and they've upgraded. It looks like they've upgraded Enlist, actually.
Oh, Albion? Yeah, and deploy once as well. They've got 2 upgrades. Yeah.
So those mechs are still pretty expensive.
I don't know about the trade for metal out of Polania here. You could have moved that turn. You built the mine. Oh, they went submerge.
Oh.
That's why they didn't move. I thought for sure they'd go with speed that first mech.
Yeah, I mean, usually when you have a mine, you want speed so that you can get out and start encounter hopping.
Yeah,
you don't strictly need submerge.
I completely missed that they started with submerge in this game. I think the minute you get that mine, you have to go with speed. So that's why Albion's feeling a little bit more comfortable here, that they can kind of take their time. That's why we see a trade for food here instead of a trade for metal. You can trade the food, produce, grab that first enlist, Maybe get the deploy enlist or even the combat card enlist.
Oh yeah, that bought Albion more time for sure.
Yeah, Polania's. I mean, I thought for sure Polania was moving in turn 6 and hitting the factory in turn 8. Now we're seeing a turn 9 factory for Polania.
Although no one is really poised to get there anytime soon.
Yeah, I think they still are going to have their first choice of factory card for sure.
I'm curious as to how Nordic is going to get more workers.
Or how they're going to defend these resources.
Yeah, because as soon as Polania gets to the factory, they can be up in Nordic's base.
It's conceivable that Polania takes Nordic's encounter in turn 10. I mean, at this point, it's not just conceivable; it's likely. I don't see Nordic getting to that encounter at all. Polania wants it.
Yeah, they don't really have a way to do anything about it.
Second on the coins here. So Albion going with the trade for metal, which means they are going to drop a mech before Polania can steal that metal up on the mountain hex. Wrathclaw says, is that a 0 mech Nord strat? I'm not sure whether or not that was the plan, but no, it's not apparently, because there's a mill on the mountain.
Although Polania might be going to that mountain anyway. They don't have any popularity, so there's really nothing to lose.
And Nordic can't move next turn, so that encounter is Polania's if they want it. Does Polania move another mech to the factory to hold it and occupy it? I think that would be a good move. I mean, here's the lake block. The lake block's a good standard move, Polania versus Nordic, but Nordic's just not threatening at all. I mean, I think you're going to encounter block them. I would have considered putting another mech on that factory just because that's a move where later in the game you don't have to block rally. Because Albion gets to the factory, what, 2 times quicker if they can rally there because it's empty. So you bring a mech that turn, you leave it on the factory, and it can sit there maybe more than half this game the way this game is going. So what's the power situation? Polania and Nordic pretty much on even playing field. Polania took the 3 resources factory card, which a lot of people hate. It's slower, but I have to confess I don't hate it. It's a slower economy, but you can at least run an economy off of it, which is more than you can say about a lot of factory cards. But it's not.
I mean, if they wanted to, they could get 3 food, get an encounter, enlist, and move again, get another encounter, and rinse and repeat, and just eat up every single encounter on the board.
Let's see. Ali, why didn't they take the food and enlist? You know, that's exactly right, because they had the mine. They could have jumped up there, bumped that worker, taken that food, and enlisted as their bottom row action. I'm so accustomed to thinking about speed, submerge, and a mine as a start, but you're exactly right. They could have stolen that food and gotten a free enlist off that move.
Well, and that's a very dangerous produce.
The one thing I guess Nordic has going for it is they now have more power and more cards than Polania, and they can move next turn. But Polania doesn't take Nord's encounter.
And Nord's metal.
Yeah. It's huge.
They can't make a mech with it just yet. I think they still need one more. So Polani has one more turn to take that, but I think you can't let Nordic get away with that.
Well, Nordic's gonna move now. They've got to. And Polani can 2v1 and steal the metal, but Nordic's at least gonna get a shot at that encounter first. What do we see out of Albion? This standoff between, oh, Foundations of the Empire for Albion. Isn't that nice? This standoff between Polania and Nordic, this kind of Cold War almost that's going on right now, as right now is Albion's best friend.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of Albion's dream, is that the other two, you know, fight amongst themselves, and leave him alone as he's setting up his engine.
So Albion took 3 moves. They were worker, character, mech with 3 workers. What'd they take on this encounter? They took 4 metal. Dynamite encounter for Albion.
Yeah, that's really good, because they did not have any workers on metal, so
now they're set up to make at least 1 mech and almost enough for another mech. Nordic can't do a thing about it. Polania can, but Albion with a significant power advantage right now. And the one thing Polania could do is, because of that mine, which I missed before, they can double attack Polania on that Tundra and take that metal if they're so inclined, which I think hurts Albion's game more than it Polania's. But at this point, I think Albion's the one worried about. And the score...
That is true.
The score shows it so far. Albion ahead by 1, but with the bids, it's closer to 10.
And Polania could even do that, and then since they have an upgraded move, with their 3rd move, go and take that encounter. Assuming Nordic doesn't put the character there.
Nevik pointed out in chat that Nordic could move the metal. Oh. Okay.
All right, well, I think that metal is definitely getting stolen.
Polania's got to do something about this. You've got to put 2 units on that and take that 2 metal, or I mean, you can't. It's free resources at this point. You got to do
metal with the character, and then take the food and the wood with the mech and the lake, and then use it to enlist.
Run that by me one more time.
Spend it right away.
Oh, there's a food. Take. Oh, Polani has the enlist upgraded. That's right. You're exactly right.
See, are they going to do it? Are they going to take the food?
To be their second chance to get a bottom row action enlist off of a mistake of Nordic's. That food's kind of on my screen.
Because they've got no popularity, so they're not losing anything by doing it.
Mm-hmm. They're not going to do it. But there's food they want to enlist, and there's a mech if they want to protect that metal. As you said, though, they have no popularity, so it's 1 and 2.
Yep, so that's quite a lot of food, actually.
Yeah, you can only spend 2 of it.
Yeah, almost more food than they can protect.
Sure.
And they're pretty broke right now. I almost don't know if they should even take that second option.
If you do take it, you have to decline the worker, most certainly. I mean, I guess you have 1 popularity, so I guess you could take the worker if you were so inclined, but I'm not really sure why you would. No, they just take number 1 and are done with it. Was that a factory move? Did we see an enlist off of that? We did not see an enlist. Okay, that's got to be a misclick.
Oh, they did not enlist.
That's got to be a misclick right there.
I wonder if they don't have their reminders turned on. Usually it tells you, are you sure you don't want to do your bottom row action?
Because I mean, that just theoretically slowed the game down for them by 2 turns, is what happened there. Because now that's 2 more resources that Nordic can take off of them. So, got Jingle Bells playing in the background here.
Yep, and now Nordic is likely going to take that food right back.
Which, kind of nice for Nordic here. They had a good card that they used. Melania now can't 2v1 this character, so those resources belong to Nordic. They can make a mech, or they can produce again. I mean, the move may be to produce again, get enlist number 3, or they have 3 metals, so probably just want to make a mech at this.
Yeah, I would think it's long past time for Nordic to make a mech.
I miscounted the metal there. I thought they would need the produce to get them.
But honestly, with the factory card they're running around with, they don't even really need all 8.
No, they need turns and bottom row actions. They have resources galore. So 5 resources. What will we take here? This is kind of the challenge with Polania sometimes. You get in a situation where you have so many things you want to do at once. You have too many options. And the one good thing I'll say about them is they've not waited too long to make their workers. Sometimes you get to turn 13 or 14 with Polania, and you've gotten enlists and bottom row actions every turn, but you've got 2 workers and they're still stuck on that village. To their credit, they're 1 produce away from
encounter as Polania. But if you're not taking, if your factory card doesn't have a bottom row action star, and you're not really making progress on those bottom row actions, it's a dangerous game to play as Polania Engineering.
Nordic with the defensive choice to go artillery here. Puts it on the wood space.
Yeah, and that's interesting. They almost don't even necessarily need it, just because I don't think that Albion's going to come knocking anytime soon. And they've got such a power advantage over Polania already.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about if I would have put the mech over there on that farm. Polania didn't take the 5 resources. They chose to pay 2 of their 3 coins to get 2 of them instead. And now maybe it pays off here, because if they want, they can take an upgrade off of this encounter.
Yeah, this is such a good encounter.
And almost certainly we'll see an enlist at the end of this turn. So with 2 power now to Polania's name off this encounter, off this enlist rather, they can take 2 more. Yeah, here's the enlist. That was last week. What am I talking about? We got Connor.
She has abandoned the factory though.
Mm-hmm.
Albion can't quite rally to it yet.
Yeah. Being 2 moves away. But what did we just see there? We saw produce. Albion forgoing the march to 8 workers to get a second oil. Going to be an upgrade. Probably on deploy here.
Deploy.
Because they've got 2 metal on the ground. Checking in on the score here.
I would expect Albion's up by... Yep.
Not even counting bids, they're up by 7.
And they've still only put out 2 flags.
Mm-hmm. And they've got 2 food on the ground. Albion can actually now move and redistribute their workers to put a bunch of them on metal. Let's see how they do this. Because they don't need to produce food again.
So now they are in a position where they can rally to the factory in 2 turns if it's still empty. I do just wonder how they're going to get the last 2 metal for their enlist, or for their last mech.
Well, they have 1 worker on that mountain, so they'll get 1 more. But yeah, they're 1 metal short as it is. Unless they're thinking they're going to make Burrow and then go take that metal away from Polania. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they do have a much stronger military at this point.
So if you're Nordic right here, you're on 8 power, you've got 8 cards, you've got 3 enlists and a mech. 1 building.
And Nordic's problem is they can't really move anywhere, but they need to move if they want to make a building. I guess they could gain a coin, but it just seems like such a waste.
And this is kind of late in the game to only have 3 workers, admittedly. Albion has kind of recovered from having to bump those workers off that village. I'm not sure Nordic has. They're giving this turn some thought.
Yep, that's why it's not recommended that Nordic go for that village. Like you said, unless it's innovative or industrial.
So, I'm just trying to think what you would do here as Nordic. I mean, you could move that farm worker over to the village if you were so inclined. And move 2 workers to the mill. Maybe build a mine on that village. Wait, does Polania have Riverwalk? They don't. Be really cool, and Polania could bump it if they really wanted to with the factory card. But it'd be really cool if they moved that worker that's on the farm over to the Resviet village and built a mine there, I think. And then start getting their workers over there. Put the mine next to home base. We will see an armory if Nordic is planning on trading for food next turn to set up their last enlist. Or the only one I didn't guess. The monument.
Getting towards tier 2 at this point.
Yeah, they're kind of 3 away with several encounters still on the board. Oh, but gosh, their score. Got 1 coin. They've got fewer points than Albion has raw coins.
They could actually roll up their sleeves with the common man.
The build bonus is straight line, Nevik. Right. Seeing another mech out of Albion. This game's not going to be over in 16 turns. Might not be over in 18 turns, but this is looking like it's Albion's game.
Oh yeah, it's Albion's game to lose at this point.
Albion's going to pick up 2 stars next turn and be 1. They did not go Burrow. I thought they might go Burrow. Take that metal off of Polania. but they're going to go sword instead. I think the next turn is going to be a produce. We get out of Nordic a trade for 2 food. See, I get splitting the food between places so they can't both get taken, but that forest is safe. Could have dropped both those food on the forest, unless I'm missing something.
And I'm wondering if Polania will go to the factory to prevent the rally.
I mean, with 3 moves at your disposal, you would think that's worth one of them.
I wonder if they're trying to set up underworld advantage? Or just try to get spread?
Hey, Polania just did Albion a favor. Albion couldn't reach that metal on the village. But now...
yeah.
Now they can take it. Now...
It would be at the cost of the factory, so that is the trade-off. Because I think they need all 3 moves to get to the factory.
They do. They also need, because if they produce again, they'll be back down to 12.
They have enlisted upgrade, though. And Polania looks like they maybe might produce an upgrade. Potentially, I don't know why they're sitting on all of that oil.
Yeah, they have to produce on 2 tundras because upgrade is not upgraded for them. They have what they need. They do have 1 coin. Well, now they have a couple more. Enlist. Bonnie up to 2 enlists. Got the worker star and the objective star. I didn't see. What was the objective? That was earlier, right?
Maybe 3 villages?
Yeah, I think I missed Polania because you need 2 of them. So if you're going to trade for a medal, you might as well trade for both medal and get a flag on that factory. It's flag number 3. You were, if you weren't going to get a flag on the factory right away, you're going to have to expose yourself to a flagless move onto that wood space.
Yeah, and well, Nordic really has no way of getting there and competing with Albion for the factory, and Polania only has 4 power. So I think that factory is Albion's to keep if they want it, especially since if Polania takes it, they can just rally right back to it.
I mean, Ali says Albion's getting 7 points. That's looking that way. So Albion's just got 1 star, but they can have 2 anytime they want it because they've got 3 workers on this village and enough food to get that enlist. This is not a very helpful encounter for Polania. It's enough oil to get a 2nd and 3rd upgrade, or you could take your 2nd building. It's just, it's not getting them closer to any probable stars. They're going to take the 2 oil.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they really need tier 2 at this point. Or honestly, they almost need tier 3 at this point, but I don't think they want to be spending popularity. And I almost wonder if Albion, they don't really need the power star. They could just use the factory move to go ahead and attack Polania here. Make that last mech. Get 2 stars in 1 turn.
They moved off of the mountain, so they're not producing. And here's where it would be really nice to have Burrow. Because you could even, of course, Nordic has too much power to really mess with. They're just going to trade for the mech.
I guess they really wanted the power star, because they did just pick up a mech deploy factory card.
Yeah, we're gonna see a mech star and a power star this turn. It's gonna take them to 3. And the next turn, if they want, a worker star and an enlist star. So they'll be at 5 stars, which means someone could attack them and end. But after 4 more stars, no one's gonna have the score to touch them. I don't think. Unless someone gets into tier 2 quickly, and Polania could do it.
Yeah, and now the problem here is that Polania might hide on lakes and deny Albion combats.
Nevik says mech, power, and combat. Well, that's just 4 stars, right? You still got to get the worker star and the enlist star. There's some more.
I would have
for
liked to see
Polania.
them drop the mech with the factory card and attack Polania. They could even drop it and well, I don't know if it would be.
I didn't see the factory card. Yeah.
Yeah, they got a mech deploy. So if I were them, I would have dropped that mech and attacked Polania before they retreated to lakes.
Yeah. The only downside of that play is if they do that, right, they go to 3. But now Albion's sitting at... Oh, Polania just went to tier 2. They're up by 3. It doesn't cover the bid, but dang, it's close.
Yeah. Well, Albion, I think, needs to get needs to get a worker back on those flags. Because that's 4 territories total that they're missing out on.
So here's the challenge if you're Albion right now, is you can produce enlist and go to 5 stars, but then you're only at, what, let's assume 2 off the enlist, 2 off the enlist bonus, that's 4 plus 6, you're up by 10, which is a pretty formidable lead. But Polania is at tier 2, and a 3-star turn-in for them, which they don't admittedly have the resources for right now, would be a huge increase in points. But maybe you just have to risk it as Albion here. I mean, how is Polania going to pick up 2 combats anyway, right?
Yeah, they would have to like triple T. Yeah, I don't know if they can do it with.
I think if you're Albion, you just produce and get your worker star and your enlist star, because, like you said, they need workers on those flags. But if they're going to do that, they've got to make the workers first.
Yeah, I don't think Polania is poised to get 2 combats in one turn with their only 4 power.
They don't have the. That doesn't answer the question where your combat's coming from. All right. Polania's got to move to the lakes or the game's over. Nevik, can Polania spread and suicide into Albion? Is their score close enough? We're kind of just talking about that. They're down by 3. They have to win by, what is it, 9? So you'd need to go up 12 to tie. And you'd win the tiebreaker because of this mine. So, but you've got to give... It's really 15 because you'd have to give Albion a star. Do it. Lonnie's got to get on the water and... Oh, look, we see a turn-in on an objective for Nordic. Nordic at 54 now. But not in as good a position to spread out as Polania is. It's Polania. Yep, I don't think you can... I don't think there's a suicide play here. So maybe you could. Can you win a 2v1 against Albion? I guess you can. So maybe if you take these mechs that are down on this tundra, right, and take 2 of them and attack that wood space. You pick up 1 territory doing that, and you win that, so that's 2 territories. Then with the 3rd mech, you attack, say, the factory. I still don't think it's even close. Game's over.
Yeah, I think this is Albion's.
Game just ended. I guess Albion has to win a 2v1 or a 1v2 if they want to end. Right? Albion has the regular move available to them, but so I don't think if you're Albion that you have to take the Polania at 10 popularity here. It's turned 20, but if this goes too much longer.
Yeah, Polania could make a play for tier 3.
It's like there's. Yeah, they're pretty much out. Albion is shoring up the shore. Already had foundation. It was a nice little points boost. Albion up by 9 right now. Plus Polania's bid is 18. Plus a suicide play is a 21. That's not happening. So Albion doesn't seem like they're really in a hurry to get a combat. I kind of thought we might see them sort of positioning themselves there to attack Polania or Nordic down the road.
Yeah, because they're not on tunnels. They need to be maybe even on that oil tunnel.
They're just kind of prioritizing the points that last turn by getting on those flag spaces.
And they are lucky that Polania has not upgraded the gain popularity. It's not the most efficient way to go about it, but
Polania at 6 power now. With 1 more power, Polania could win a 1v1 against Albion on that wood space. And then have the other combat on the factory and force Albion to either win it and lose the game, which they'll do to preserve the 2 points, or lose the combat and potentially lose the game the same turn. If you have an objective to turn in. No, you've turned in your objective. I think
Polania's already turned in their objective, though.
Yeah, so you just need the 2 combats in the enlist. Right. Polania's turn right now. Were they to get tier 3, they'd be looking at 17 points off of it. Which is enough to exactly tie and cover their bid. If they were to get tier 3. That's how far behind they are. But like you said, no more encounters in reach.
Yep, they can't really get to either of those.
The 3rd one goes to the factory, but you don't have enough points and spread to do it. Just gonna have to wait a turn. What's Albion got coming up? Just the factory move.
And then depending on how much Polania spends, because Albion does have sword out.
You're Albion here. You got to call a bluff. You've got 10 cards. Surely 2 of them are good. You can
Yep.
only move 1 unit next turn. Throw high,
Yeah.
force Polania to throw something, and then save a 5. You're going to have 7 power. Come back and end it. I wouldn't have saved so much power there as Albion, but I think it's going to work out just the same because Polania spends 3 power.
Yep.
They're going to get sorted.
Down to 1 power, and
I think the game's over.
Yep, as long as Albion has...
Polania's up by 7. Which means that...
Oh, and they hadn't... Had they not taken... They hadn't taken power yet.
So if Albion has a 5, the only way Polania could... Because they're still going to get sorted. So the only way Polania can win that is if they're still sitting on 2 5s. And they spin a 5 and a 4. Well, I don't know that that's the case here. Now here's a question. Can Albion suicide? And I think the answer is no. Because Polania is up by 7. So Albion would get 2 and bring it within 5. But giving the star to Polania gives them 4 and pushes them to 9. Which means
yeah, and I think they can only knock off 1 Polania worker.
Well, all they have is a factory move.
Oh, yeah. Then no, I don't think they can suicide.
If you have the triple move, there's a flag on that Tundra. So you just bring 2 units to it, bump the Tundra, and call it. But you can still win this right here, right now, if Polania is not sitting on 2 5s. And they just spent 1. I mean, game theory-wise, the fact that they spin a 5 has nothing to do with whether they have more 5s.
It has something marginal to do in that there's only, what, 7 5s in the deck, but...
Right, I mean the fact that they... Some people might say, well, Polania already had 1 5. What's the chance that they have 2 more? The fact that they have 1 has no bearing on the probability that they have 2. Effective. Unless you're kind of evaluating psychologically, would they have played 1 5 if they had 3? They've played 2 5s that last time. Would they really have played a 5 and a 4? They had 3 5s. But all you know as Albion is that there are 42 cards. As you said, there's a 5 that's gone, so there are 42 cards or 41 cards. I don't know how many cards you've seen. There are probably 4 or 5 cards that are gone. So like 36, 37 cards. They're gonna do it.
All right.
I'm gonna try to win it right here, right now.
Game on.
This is game, literally. Polania wins this, they win, right? Five. So star is 9. Bid was 9. They win the unit tiebreaker. Ooh, this is 5 points in the balance right here. Polania does not have the 2 5s. They spent 1 last turn. Wow. Yeah, Nevik, I was gonna get to the cards Albion had, but that's what you consider the cards that haven't been spent, that are either the deck or the other player's hands, and the cards in your. And it's like Texas Hold'em in that way. All right, Albion wins outright 73.
7 points.
With a total of 16-point victory with their bid. That's 28 raw coins, carries the day over Polania in Tier 2. That ended up being a really close game there at the end. Came down to 1 power, which at about turn 13 or 14, I didn't expect at all. But it went 21 turns, and a lot can happen in 21 turns.
So I think the final is Flying Mustang leads it off with 7 points. AdityaKarthik got 1 point, I think, from having the factory card.
Okay, Wrathclaw says he thinks that Polania wins by bid, or Albion wins by bid if Polania wins the last combat. But Albion, okay, Albion got 3 points for that last star. I'm looking at the score here. So that put them at 73. So, and they got the territory.
The territory with the flag back.
So they would have been at 68 if they'd lost the combat. Polania would have had the territory, which puts them at 71. Oh yeah, you're right. The flag too. So Albion got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points off that last move, right? So 7 points puts them at 66. So Polania is at 68. They would be at 71 plus what, 4 more? 75. So that's 9 above 66, and 9 was the bid. And Polania had the mine, so they win the tiebreaker. So I think Polania wins on tie if Polania can win that fight. But Albion had the 5. No, Wrathclaw, I think you're I don't think you subtracted for the trap. All right, let's get Discord back over. I imagine they're gonna have to bid in here again. All right. Discord's back up on the screen. So now we've got the second matchup. LYB cannot use the bidding tool, so see another manual bid in Discord. LYB says they got to leave in about 5 minutes, so hopefully that's not a bid in play. They did start at about an hour and 13 minutes ago, which is about how long my first set took.
Yeah, I guess that's what happened. What was that? Was that 23 rounds?
Maybe. Thought it was 21, but it took a while. Sure. Unfortunately, with the bidding tool not working, they same as
I'm not actually sure who does start bidding.
we said that whoever was listed highest in the results sheet started the bid. Is that? Result sheet. They can look it up. Do that. I guess if they run out of time, they'll just have to leave the game and come back to it.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen that before.
I mean, it's play and go. They can do it as long as, although it's set to 1 day, so won't have much time to come back to it.
All right, so I think as expected, Tagawa will be the 0 bid here.
It's the quickest I've seen anyone jump from Crimea to Rust, though. We saw Crimea 0, Crimea 1, Crimea 2, and then Rust 0. Now Rust is bid up to 2.
Yeah, this group certainly likes to hop back and forth a lot.
Did you see any of Jeremy's game earlier?
I did not. I talked to Joey, and he had some bad objective luck again.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
It was the... He did, for sure. Crimea ended in 14 and won by about 30 points. So Crimea can make a bid. It'd be hard to do. Me and Russ
Yeah,
both
it's
up to
interesting.
5. You're right. This is following the same pattern as the last game, which is the two that get bid on toggle back and forth. Yeah. You can almost set your clock to it. What did I see? No, I thought I saw Russ already at 6. Interfering with their bidding. Didn't mean to do that. All right, Russ is up to 8 now. Crimea's at 8. Crimea goes to 9.
At this point, I think you almost consider, yep, there it is.
Right.
Taking Tagawa.
Get the bids on. Gawa Innovative at 0. West Fiat Cultural at 8. And Crimea Engineering at 9.
So who do you like here with the bids?
All right. I don't know. These practice games have been all over the map. I was telling somebody earlier, I feel kind of weird about these sets going into my game. I've played several practice games. I think out of 4 or 5 games, I've only lost the first set once. And out of 4 or 5 games, I think I've only won the second set once. So the second set, or the second game, I'm not really sure I've landed on where I want to be. I kind of want to be Tagawa with a high bid, and I'm not sure you're going to get Russ or Crimea higher than they are. So I think with a little RNG, I like the potential of Tagawa. That being said, it's not just the bid and the faction, it's the player. And the players who were in contention last.
In terms of being aggressive, Tagawa's gotta be really careful to protect itself.
So out of the gate, we see produces from Rustviet and Tagawa.
Pretty standard.
Move from Tagawa. Trade for metal. Mia. And produce Rustviet. This is a pretty standard opening for Crimea here. You trade your way to the speed mech while producing 3 times and getting your worker star and setting up the first. Rustviet agricultural 8 workers is not particularly usual either.
Yep, I think it's Rustviet can take a couple different paths after this turn, depending on whether they go speed or river walk.
Yeah, I tried speed not too long ago. Worked okay. Would have been better with a different objective. Yeah, the standard 15 turn rush for Rustviet here trades exactly like that and takes river walk. That's what we see. So I think we know what Rustviet is doing for a little while. They're moving up to this farm. They're going to produce the rest after training for oil. They're going to produce the rest of the food they need, get all 4 of their enlists. Another trade for oil and a move gives them the power star off the bottom enlist.
But then the question is how they go about getting the rest of their mechs. I know you don't always need them with Rustviet agricultural, but I think if Crimea is going to be aggressive, you really want People's Army and probably Township as well, especially if Tagawa blocks that village tunnel with a trap.
Yeah, the strat Rustviet is taking just doesn't get its mechs. Because not unless the game goes really long. Because you need, what, 3 more turns to trade for the 2 mechs? Because you're going to get your second upgrade on deploy. So that's, what, 15, 16, 17? That's moving to end in turn 18.
Yeah, that's probably a little too slow. And I think Tagawa's got to start positioning himself to make some mechs, or Crimea is gonna go on a bit of a rampage.
Tagawa is actually using a strategy that looks a lot like something that Durr talked about at the tail end of the Tagawa tutorial that he and I did. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but this little worker pattern here, similar to it. But we've got 1 upgrade on buildings. Probably, if I had to guess, Tagawa's about to trade for 2 more oil and upgrade build again. Maybe with bolster being upgraded above it.
But they only have so much time before Crimea comes and invades that wood spot.
Mm-hmm. And Crimea took option number 1 off that encounter, which is actually a little bit significant because it means Crimea can actually afford to bump those workers. No, they can't, because they have to produce twice more. Crimea does. They can't get everything they need off of 1 produce. We haven't mentioned yet the challenge in this one is actually to get the most combat cards. And Nevik points out that Tagawa could protect the wood spot with a trap. I'm not sure Tagawa really wants to move right now with what they're doing. Oh, they have some wood on the ground, so that upgrade could go to enlist or to build. Gonna go to build. But Tagawa doesn't want to move yet.
And Rasviet just snuck right into tier 2.
Yeah, 3 popularity off that encounter a moment ago for 2 coins. Old meta strategies with these combinations. So we see a building from Tagawa now, right? Bolster and a mill on the tundra? Yep. Now they can produce and then either build another building, or they could trade for an oil and a food and upgrade something like enlist and then move enlist. Nevik says if Tagawa is going to build a lot, Russ can stay in tier 2 with a build enlist bonus. Good point. Russ is going to have to make that decision now.
Yeah, that's very true. But the challenge is combat cards. So yeah, it looks like they are going to go with the combat card. And that is the benefit of Rasviet, is that you don't have a downturn. You can enlist again straight away. And so they actually will be able to enlist that popularity bonus before Tagawa is able to build their next building.
Yeah, Nevik is just making the same point in chat. So what now, Tagawa? Presumably this is produce, right? And I'm trying to think what else you would do here. Oh, they do produce. If you're Crimea and you want that wood, you can take it and send your character to that encounter and make up the popularity for your last produce. Rusviet's not gonna take it off of you. Or do they still have to do a last produce? Yeah, they do. Unless they find an upgrade. They still need a little bit more food.
I mean, I think you have to do it. It's too tempting not to.
Okay, technically they don't, right? They'd have to burn a lot of cards, but technically technically they have enough resources because they have 4 metal, so they could trade for a metal and a food twice. And that would give them 6, and that would give them the 2 max, and that would give them 6 food, which is... Or just take the enlist. Oh, they can't take the enlist. And they can barely take the metal.
Yes, I think they gotta take the popularity if they want to produce, and they really can't afford to spend their last...
Well, the metal means you don't need to produce. Because now you have enough metal. But do they have any... Yeah, they spend 2 food and a combat card here.
I guess they get the coin back from the enlist.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting that they brought all their workers, or not all, but so many of their workers to the wood.
So now they get to trade for food twice to get up to a total of 5 food. And that's enough to enlist 2 more times and only spend 1 combat card. So Crimea, no longer leading the pack in combat cards, is going to have to commit 1 more.
Although they can bring out Scout and start stealing Tagawa's.
Rusviet already outpacing you in power now. I think, you know what, if you're Crimea, you know what Rusviet is doing right now, and I like the positioning of this mech on the forest with this 2 wood. because you can go to, like you said, scout here, and then move to the factory. And the very next move, you could send this mech up to bump this metal off this mountain space in Russ's base. Because if Russ loses that one metal, suddenly they don't have a great way to get their next mech.
Yeah, and they don't have speed. So no real way to get back.
And they won't have it for a while. Although Tagawa just ruined that plan. So now as you're winning your Crimea, you need to position a mech onto a tunnel, the same move that you go to the factory to still steal that metal away from Rutsviet. See if they do that. There's Scout, and there's a mech on a tunnel. A bit of a gamble, but with this strategy Rutsviet is doing, Crimea could actually attack and lowball Russ and gamble that Russ does not want to spend power. Because if you're Rutsviet and you spend power and you can't get the power star, what's your 6th star with this strat? Russ in tier 2 right now. Got a 6-point lead on Crimea. Maybe enough to stall. Maybe you don't want to give tier 2 Russ combats that it can have without popularity loss.
Yeah, and I think at some point Crimea and potentially Rutsviet need to get Tagawa's character off the board, because that's just sort of a free combat for the other.
You're right, Ned.
Granted, they do have to eat a trap token, but
Russ can't afford to lose the food either. So maybe that's good for Crimea. Maybe they put Russ in a lose-lose situation here. All right, there's one move. Gonna block Russ, but not attack them. And they're not even going to be sneaky about the ability to invade Russ's base. They're just right there. Russ has to see. This is terrible if you're Rutsviet, I think, because
there's not anything they can even do about it.
I mean, you have to spend the whole turn moving back to that village with no bottom row action. You're going to protect that metal, or you just have to give up on the metal and do a trade for the metal. All right, Crimea takes this factory card where you pay a resource for a power, a popularity, and a coin, which, you know, is not horrible with Crimea, considering they have 2 wood on the ground and they can spin combat cards on that factory card. But they're actually doing pretty well on the combat card challenge. They may not want to spin those cards.
Yeah, and Tagawa's only got 2. I guess they have not enlisted yet.
Tagawa been on 2 food forever. Ship has sailed on Tagawa getting combat cards for the challenge. Russ or Crimea's game now. Tagawa gonna make their first mech next turn, unless they get that metal stolen by Crimea.
I think Crimea at this point needs to focus on hampering Rutsviet.
I think you could wait for normal move action to steal that metal, though. I think this is the right call out of Crimea. Go ahead and drop another mech.
And get some food so that they can enlist when they move.
Because Rutsviet still has to trade for 2 oil. Oh no, Rutsviet has the power star already. They must have gotten it off one of Tagawa's upgrades.
I think they got it technically off of the bolster, but they got into range off of Tagawa's upgrades.
Okay. Makes sense. Because typically, Russ still needs the upgrade before they can spin the metal, though.
Yeah, Tagawa has just been doing the upgrades for Russ.
Russ Fiat up by 8 right now. Bid puts them up by 9. There's the oil. It's now or never when it comes to stealing that metal. Gawa has Ronin now. Only one card though, really pricey to fight with Scout. Only one card. Unless by some miracle you started the game with 2 5s. Even then, that's all the combats you're gonna get this game. The combat cards you're gonna get this game the way it's going.
Yeah, Tagawa doesn't have much of an economy going for them right now.
They've got 3 upgrades all on that build and no way except trading to get wood. All right. I mean, if Crimea has the cards, they could double attack Russ here and take that oil. Russfeet's just going to move and take it right back. Is the problem with that, though?
Yeah, I mean, they could even throw a bluff and just try to steal a combat card to cement the challenge. But I think you do definitely want to steal the metal. And probably take the 2 workers with you.
That's right. Bring the workers with you and you win the fight. Russ can't recapture their oil without losing the popularity. But you have to bring both of them. Russ sitting at 8 pop right now. Me only going to attack with 1 unit. Fortify the factory with the other one.
Oh, and they're not stealing the metal.
I actually think Russ is kind of excited about this. They've hit the power star. They don't mind spending power. I mean, worst case scenario here, Crimea just throws 1 power and you waste a good bit of power. And Crimea goes to 10 cards and you're sitting on 7. And Crimea cements the challenge. And you're not going to catch. You have all your enlists. Crimea's enlisting one more time. Crimea has Scout. Crimea throws 1 power here and Russ doesn't catch them on this period. But if Russ picks up a combat here, you go to 4 stars.
And then they just need 1 more combat and then an objective. Granted, it might be hard for them to get that without speed, but...
Well, they only have 7 points wrapped up in tier 2 right now. And they just won that combat. So if Russ has an objective they can accomplish right now, they can end.
Yeah, that is true. I think Crimea needs to get out of their way.
Russ has an objective, it's too late. Russ is up by 11. They've only got 8 points wrapped up in tier 2, and they've only got to make a 1 coin bid vis-a-vis Crimea. They'll get a card stolen. But all they have to cover is 10, so they just... This is a math turn for Russ. Let's think about it. What could they have? They could accomplish send 1 back. You send 1 back. Foundations. Can't do get rich. They don't have the objective, I guess. Gonna play the long in tier 2 game.
I mean, they do have the ability to get tier 2 right back with that encounter, had they chosen to go after Crimea there.
They don't have speed yet.
Yeah, well, I mean long term.
Long term, yes, definitely. So still up by 10. Tagawa looks to be... I mean, technically they're beating Crimea. But it sure looks like Tagawa's out of this. Although we thought that about everyone but Albion last game, and they really made us sweat. So how does Crimea make up these points? They've got to spread out the workers that are on that forest, but they've also got to find combat somehow. Crimea just gained 2 power since their last turn off 2 different upgrades from Scythe. They're sitting at 7 power right now. All right, factory card use.
So now they're at 8.
Yeah, that was Crimea's last chance to take the medal. I mean, the downside of taking the medal there is Rush just moves again and takes it the next turn and gets one of the combats they need.
Yeah, I think they missed their opportunity.
You got to take the medal when Russ is still up on the farm.
Yep, and now Russ can deploy the speed mech. Or if they really want to.
A bold move right there would have been to go township.
Yep.
Crimea couldn't have gotten more than one. I don't think Crimea could have gotten more than one worker on that factory, the way they're positioned now, and would essentially have to leave the factory or just hope that Russ doesn't have an objective.
King of the Hill.
Russ has the upgraded move and could have sent all 3 units to the factory.
Yeah, I do wonder what Russ's objective is.
This turn's going to tell us, I think. We see a trade for metal here. I don't think Russ has an objective. Or I guess maybe they do and they just think they can't. They're just really concerned about preserving tier 2 and just think they need, say, township to get out of their base.
Yeah, and I think if they take the factory from Crimea, I don't even know that they really do need tier 2.
All right, there's the combat card trap. Don't think you wanted to see that one.
Yeah, and that's interesting that Tagawa put it all the way up there. Sometimes people skimp on that metal space and really want to put it on the metal space with their workers.
Be back in just a second.
So Crimea going to that oil, and they have not turned it in an objective yet. I would guess that it's Northern Advantage, although they do have to be a little bit careful about going to 5 stars. With only 1 combat, because they would open themselves up to potential suicide from Russ. All right, and they do not hand in their objective, assuming it was 3 tundras. So Russ is thinking right now. And yep, Nevik, I agree. I don't think it's wise to go to 5 stars at this point. All right, so Russ is moving to the encounter.
I'm back. Sorry about that. I had going on with my son. Take care of.
Oh, no worries.
All right.
Holding down the fort.
What I miss?
Russ is moving to the encounter. And Crimea. Oh, Russ is flipping a trap.
And it was not pop. They got lucky.
I really wonder what if they put the popularity trap on their own with the workers on the metal.
Oh, it's a $4 mech. Oh no, but there are 2 things on this you'd really love to have. You'd love to have that metal, because then you're 2 turns away from the mech star. The mech, also the $4 mech, also puts you 2 turns away from the mech star, and he's going to take it, which is going to put him tied with Crimea 1 point ahead after bids. Gawa a distant 3rd right now. So Crimea can do their regular move. They just need the combat and the objective, right?
Yeah, and at this point, if Rusviet has, like, say, 3 villages, they could end next turn.
So if you're Crimea here, think about this. You don't need tier 2, so forget popularity. You can reach Tagawa there. You'd pick up 1 more territory and 2 stars, assuming you can get your objective. That would be enough. But you can't win a 1v1 against Tagawa right now. And Rusvia went People's Army, which I really think that you should have gone Township there. I mean, if you go Township, factory is essentially yours next turn, and Crimea can't do a thing about it.
Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder what their objective is. There's a lot that they can hit even without the factory.
Right.
I think Crimea kind of has to end on this turn, otherwise Russ is going to end it next turn.
What could Russ have? They could have Diversify, right?
Yeah, they could also have 3 farms. They could have 3 villages. They could also get 3 metal.
Crimea just went into tier 2 off that 2 popularity on the encounter. They're up by 8 now, even without the factory. So Russ can still end this. 1 factory card and no upgrades for Crimea. Crimea turning in that objective they've been sitting on to try to stall Russ. Russ needs 12. And this is where if you'd taken Township.
Yep, you just go to the factory and that's suicide into Crimea.
That's 9 of that 12 right now. And yeah, free combat off Crimea, like you said. And I mean, 90% of the time, Township over People's Army, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the problem with Russ, is that it can get really penned in, and Township is really, it's not to have the factory because it's worth so much points. It's to be able to get out on the board and get to the left half of the board.
Yeah. Now it's Recipe's turn. Oh, God.
They can afford to stomp a couple of workers and keep tier 2.
It's exactly 2 of them, which means the combat on that wood tunnel is off limits. But the character is not off limits, and the mountain there is not off limits. So if you have Diversify, you can pick it up and win this turn, I think. Yeah, Wrathclaw, they can catch Crimea. Because they still have 2 stars to get, which is 8. Which puts them 3 short, essentially, after the bid. And just the fight would swap 2 territories, so it'd be enough. So even just moving here to this mountain and winning the fight against Crimea, sending the mech home, flipping this territory, and turning in an objective would be enough for us.
And I think the only movement-based objectives that would be kind of hard for us to get would be the 3 wood and maybe shore up the shore.
Yeah.
But metal, farms, tundras, obviously villages, and Diversify are all definitely doable.
Yeah, because they already have a tundra.
I do wonder if it's Diversify.
Because there's a wood space right there.
Yeah. And are they on? They are
Crimea.
now on everything.
You could attack Tagawa instead of Crimea. If you wanted. See, if this is Diversify, I think they should have attacked Tagawa. Unless the coin trap would make the difference, but I don't think it will. Not after they get 2 stars.
Oh,
and
yeah, you're right. Because now they're going to get a combat card stolen.
Whereas if they'd gone to Tagawa and spent 1 combat card to win that fight, say they had a 5, they could take home the challenge as well as the game. Northern advantage. Sure looks like it.
Yeah, because I think otherwise you spend your move to go to the factory.
All right, do we see an objective out of Rust now? It's got to be Northern advantage, right?
They're making us wait for
Divide
it.
and conquer.
It's divide and conquer.
The southern tunnel was just for funsies.
Yeah, all right. I guess they did absolutely need to attack Crimea there and not Tagawa.
Yes, they did. It was not Diversify. All right, so final tally of the night. We've got Flying Mustang, 7 points in the first game, 2 points in this game for a grand total of 9. We've got LB Scythe, I think came at 0, and AdityaKarthik was pulled 1 point last game for having the factory card, and this game got 6. So 7 points to Flying Mustang, or 9 points to Flying Mustang over the set, and 7 points to AdityaKarthik. I'm missing a point. No, that's right. That's right. That's 16 points. Right. Good games. Congratulations to the players. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for watching. Some good games, and have a good night.